Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to NEWSROOM. I'm your host, Khalid. But today is the 20th of May, 2024, and these are the stories that we will be highlighting during the course of the show. We'll begin, ladies and gentlemen, with the unfortunate news that arrived concerning the president of Iran, the foreign minister of Iran, and their entourage, many of whom have lost their lives, have been martyred in a helicopter crash that has happened. Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi passed away and was martyred after a helicopter carrying him and his entourage crashed in the country's East Azerbaijan province. They made a tough landing during a visit to the country's northwest. Now, they were en route to Tabriz city after inaugurating a dam at the border with the Azerbaijan Republic on Sunday. Pakistan is going to be observing a day of mourning, and our flag will be flying at half-mast. 9 people were on board. No official word on the exact cause of death has been given. The world over there have been, of course, observations regarding the passing away, the martyrdom of the Iranian leaders from Pakistan to different other important Middle Eastern and Arabic countries to the European Union as well. Mr. Khamenei has declared 5 days of national mourning. New elections are going to be held within 50 days, although Iran's supreme leader has confirmed first Vice President Mohammad Mokhbar as the country's acting president. Our second story concerns the day 227 of the Israel-Palestinian conflict. And of course, we all know that nothing tangible has happened of late, but a very interesting development that has happened is that the International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and the Defense Minister of Israel, Yoav Gallant, as well as Hamas leaders. Israel's leadership has been charged with starvation, causing great suffering, willful killing, murder, directing attacks against the civilian population, crimes against humanity, and persecution and other inhumane acts. This is a very important development. Whether it will actually be applied in letter and principle is something that we will be seeing. Nevertheless, the number of casualties keeps on increasing. It has surpassed 35,500 as we speak, and the number of injured is almost at 80,000. There still is some kind of a hope as far as truce talks between the two sides is concerned, but Israel is hell-bent on to further undergoing the Rafah operation, the ground invasion that it has been tom-tomming since quite some time. This is going to be our second story. Then we are going to talk about the heat wave in Punjab and Sindh. There has been already a warning issued by the Met Department that has talked about a heat wave that is going to engulf these regions between the 23rd to the 27th of May, and of course it will begin in Punjab and Sindh from the 21st to the 23rd as well, but it will reach its peak between these days, that is the 23rd to the 27th. The different governments have taken certain measures as far as this heat wave is concerned, whether it be by extending the summer vacations of the schools to around a week more, that is the vacations beginning a bit earlier than expected, or other measures that have been taken by the government of Sindh. And of course, we need to be also very careful when it comes to this heat wave, take the necessary precautions when we go outside. Then we're going to talk about Comet fragment that has lit up the sky, in fact, over Spain and Portugal. Yesterday, a lot of people were making videos. And as you can see in the parallel window, a bluish greenish kind of a light whisked past the people, and then they realized that it was a comet. In the beginning they thought it was a meteor, but then it was confirmed that it was not a meteor but a fragment of a comet. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the World Bee Day that is being observed today across the world. The World Bee Day this year focuses on the theme Be Engaged with Youth. It highlights the importance of involving young people in beekeeping and conservation efforts, and we all know that the importance of bees is paramount as far as the environment is concerned. Let's begin with our first segment and the martyrdom of Iran's president and the foreign minister in a helicopter crash. We've been joined by Mudassir Tipu. He's Pakistan's ambassador to the Islamic Republic of Iran. Sir, thank you very much to have joined us. Sir, first of all, I'd like to understand what are the latest details around the martyrdom of the Iranian president, the foreign minister, and the other officials. I understand there are around 9 officials who have been confirmed to have been martyred.
Assalamu alaikum ji. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. This is a very sad moment in the history of Iran. And, the honorable president and the foreign minister, both of them were martyred in an accident. They were coming back after inaugurating a dam at the Azerbaijan and Iranian border. And by the time they came back, the weather had become very inclement. And then I think the helicopter met with an accident. Rescue efforts were extremely difficult because the terrain where this incident took place is quite remote and inaccessible. So several hours were taken to reach there, and the rescue efforts were led by the Iranian military. And then today it was learned that, they had all been martyred. And two other very important dignitaries were traveling with the president. There was governor of East Azerbaijan and then Imam Juma. And as you are aware that the Honorable Prime Minister and the President have issued condolence messages reflecting the sentiments of the people of Pakistan and expressing complete solidarity with the government and the people of Iran in this very, very painful moment.
All right, Excellency, what is the political process now? I understand that Iran's supreme leader has declared 5 days of national mourning and that new elections are going to be held in around 50 days' time. Who will govern Iran in the meantime?
It has already taken place. This transition has happened this morning. The first vice president of Iran, Mr. Mukhbar, has assumed the charge of the president of Iran. He will hold office for 50 days. Within the 50 days, the elections have to be held. And the Deputy Foreign Minister for Political Affairs, Mr. Ali Khani, has assumed the charge of the interim foreign minister. So I must tell you that, the permanent foreign minister will be elected once the new president has been elected. So Iran has very robust political institutions and their constitutional procedures are very well placed. So the transition has already happened.
All right. Finally, Excellency, how do you view Pakistan-Iran relations? And of course, we've all seen the statements of our Prime Minister, of our President. Our Prime Minister also went to the embassy of Iran in Islamabad to pay his respects. How important are Pakistan-Iran relations in the wake of a tragedy like this?
This is a very, very important relationship. We have a border of 900 kilometers. We are bound by geography, by history, by culture, by values, and then we have a very strong trading arrangement. Our we have strategic convergence on a host of issues, and I see this relationship of great significance. And, even despite this tragic accident, the relationship of Pakistan and between Pakistan and Iran will continue to flourish and solidify. And its one reflection is the sentiments that have been expressed by the political leadership of Pakistan.
Thank you so very much, Excellency Mudassir Tipu, Pakistan's ambassador to Iran, to have joined us and to have given us the updates as far as the unfortunate tragedy regarding Iran's president, foreign ministers and his entourage is concerned. We've been joined by Amir-Mohsen Hadian. He's the international affairs expert. Thank you very much, Amir, to have joined us. Amir, how do you view the different international statements that have come after this tragedy that has struck Iran from different parts of the world, whether it be the Arab world, whether it be the Muslim world, whether it be even the European Union? The sentiments have been very strong and have been unanimous as far as this tragic incident is concerned. How do you view these statements?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Well, actually, I think that a sympathizing environment is taking shape all around Iran, and due to this sad incident, different countries, including Pakistan and the Arab world, India, China, Russia, and even the European Union have expressed their sympathy for the Iranian people and during these times of distress. Overall, I expect a sympathizing environment regarding the current situation in Iran.
All right. Also, I'd like to understand, Amir, will this unfortunate situation, and of course we have a new president in Iran now, who is going to, of course, govern Iran till 50 days when elections will be held for the new president, and there will be a new foreign minister after the election of the new president. For the moment, it's a deputy foreign minister, if I'm not wrong, who's taken the post of the foreign minister. How is this unfortunate tragedy going to impact the internal and regional dynamics as far as Iran is concerned? Will its regional relations remain the same, on the same tangent, or do you feel there might be some changes happening in the coming weeks?
Well, actually, it is plausible and probable to expect that the next Iranian president would be a conservative too, and he will keep with some of the legacy of the late Iranian president and also use some of his diplomatic capacity. And also, I think that the talks that were taking place in Oman between Iran and the United States, these talks would be delayed for a while, but I expect diplomacy to continue even as the new president takes his office and is sworn in. Well, actually, the current Iranian Speaker of Parliament, the ex-Speaker of the Parliament, and the Mayor of Tehran could be possible candidates of the incoming presidential election.
All right, thank you so very much. Let's see whose weightage is more as far as the elections are concerned in 50 days' time, and who becomes the next president. We wish, of course, Iran all the very best, and our deepest and most profound condolences to all our Iranian brothers and sisters, and to yourself as well, Amir-Mohsen, to have gone through such a big tragedy in the wake of the helicopter crash, in which, of course, the Iranian president, the foreign minister, and his entourage were martyred. Thank you very much to have joined us, Amir-Mohsen Hadian, international affairs expert, calling us from Iran. Now, let's come to our second story, and that concerns day 227 as far as the Israel-Palestine conflict is concerned. Now, when you look at the whole tragedy or the tragic incident, the way Israel has been moving along, it seems as if it is not paying heed to any of the international decrees or any of the international warnings that are being constantly given to Israel regarding of course, the way Rafah is being invaded, the way they are mercilessly killing people and injuring people, and also the way that they are moving around with stopping aid from arriving in Palestine. We've been joined by Ambassador Jamil Ahmed Khan. He's a former ambassador, online to discuss more about the ensuing situation as far as the Israel-Palestine conflict is concerned. Thank you very much, Ambassador Jamil Ahmed Khan Sahab. It had been quite some time that we hadn't discussed any issue, including the Palestinian issue. So let's begin with the most recent. The International Criminal Court issues arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, as well as the Hamas leaders. Speaking of the Hamas leaders, it is being said that the charges of hostage taking and killing are likely to stand, but not the others. But when it comes to Israeli leaders, all charges are likely to stick. What are the implications, Ambassador Jamil? Are these Israeli leaders going to be arrested or not?
It's quite challenging to arrest the leaders of the countries. But this time, unlike previous occasions, was Israel would be flouting with all the international law. This time, it's an obligation of 193 countries, wherever Netanyahu goes, or anyone who against whom the arrest warrants have been issued of ICCI, it becomes an obligation of that country to arrest. And there are about 8 steps which is followed once the warrants are issued. So first the warrants are issued, and now in this case, multiple warrants have been issued. And then basically notification has also been issued requesting for cooperation of all the member states. Then is the role of members state, because they are obliged under the statute, under the Rome statute, they are obliged to arrest. So that becomes an incumbent. It becomes important for any member state to comply with these orders. And then also the legal steps which is to be taken by national police or the courts, for example, like the accused person once arrested, they have the option of asking for the fair transition or trial. For example, each country has its own law of the land to hand over or extradite any accused person. So there are some complications, but this time it might as well become a little tougher. And once the person is arrested, it is transferred to Hague under the jurisdiction of the prosecutor general, chief prosecutor general, and also the detention center and hearing process starts. So the answer to this question, what you initially asked, was that this time Israel would find it a little tough, but Israeli Prime Minister is on record in saying that this is outrageous to issue arrest warrants for. And the chief prosecutor has already spelled out that starvation as a weapon of war and depriving the basic necessity to the people, like, in your intro also, you mentioned that even the aid trucks are not being allowed. So there is one additional international law, and that's the Treaty of Genocide. So that all these international laws are applicable, but to what extent it's going to be implemented, it all depends what extent the United States is going to stand with Netanyahu. Lately, Joe Biden was not very pleased with the fact that Netanyahu was not following the whatever was being said by the United States, particularly Joe Biden, despite his several conversations with Netanyahu in regard to the temporary ceasefire and in regard to the aid trucks or aid unhindered that was to be sent to the recipient or to the Palestinians. But nothing happened, neither the ceasefire nor aid nor any other request which Biden. But then Biden has been making those requests, but there was no forceful steps taken. For example, if the United States today tells the Israeli Prime Minister that, okay, they are going to sail out their all warships and all that support which is there on ground, then obviously the situation would be different. Now, coming back on ICC warrants, multiple warrants for Netanyahu and for the defense minister of Israel, they have already said that they are not going to comply with it, but their movement now would not be so easy to move around. United States, yes, they can, but they are going to use the airspace of several countries. It all depends what airspace are they going to use, and those respective countries under the international law, under the ICC statute, under the Rome statute, they would be obliged, once it enters, the plane enters, or Netanyahu enters into the premises of that member state, that it becomes incumbent upon that particular member state to execute the arrest warrant. But then again, the kind of support Israel has been having all along by the United States, whether it was Security Council or the General Assembly, or once it came to making full-fledged member Palestine as a full-fledged member of the General Assembly. At that time also, the United States was the one which came and stood with Netanyahu and made sure that it does not happen. So this time, again, arrest warrant, if it is executed, which as a matter of fact, and as per the law, should be executed, but it becomes very uphill task that could be done, because the United States has a very heavy leverage on the United Nations, on the ICC, on other international organizations. So what way behind the curtain the United States is going to really side with Netanyahu so far as arrest is concerned. But then arrest Israel, if his prime minister is arrested, the whole idea and the whole rhetoric which Israel has against Palestinians, that would then evaporate. So in my personal view, in my analysis, I find it to be very, very tough task to implement this. But one thing might as well happen, that due to this pressure, due to restricted movement, even if his plane is forced to land from the airspace of the member state, that could really cause a big dent and damage to the very thoughts which are to the very policy of Israel, which they have been formulating against the Palestinian. And it goes back once the Palestine was once Israel was established and the Palestinian land was occupied. Not only that, but if we trace back the history, it goes back from 1897 onward, once the very thought of Zionism or the very foundation of Zionism was laid. So if we look at the intentions and the policies of those powerful Zionist lobbies in the United States, in UK, in Europe, and other places, and if we have that in our mind, we would probably reach to that conclusion, very close to that conclusion, that execution of these warrants of the International Criminal Court would become quite hard for any member state to do it, because the moment Netanyahu or the defense minister plan to travel from a place A to place B, they would then seek the strength and seek the support of all those countries who are supporting Israel, and most of the rulers and most of the countries, they are supporting Israel, and we have seen more than 35,000.
Ambassador Jamil, my next question is going to be my last question to you, but I'd like your point of view in a concise form, let's put it that way. You've said that the situation is going to be complicated now that the ICC ruling has come and the arrest warrants issued for Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant. Will it put some kind of pressure as far as the current invasion of Rafah that is going on as we speak is concerned? Will it put some kind of pressure on Israel as far as the suspension of aid to reach the people in the different Palestinian camps is concerned, or will it put some kind of pressure for Israel to have to regain some kind of a sense as far as what it is actually perpetrating since the 7th of October last year?
Israel, right from the very beginning, and Netanyahu in particular, had outlined his complete policy about this invasion. And they said that unless they neutralize Hamas, unless they conduct a ground operation, they would not be able to dislodge Hamas. And if we look into what they've been doing in past, and if we review the historical perspective, we'll find that Israel would always like to occupy more and more land. So after having a full control, Israel has already announced that they are going to have their military presence there. So in my view, and in the natural conclusion of what we are discussing now, is that Israel would like to achieve whatever they wanted to achieve. Israel would make its last endeavor to gain the territory and to have their presence and to neutralize Hamas. Now, they feel, Israel, with their talks and with their statements and the statements of their leader, it would not be very hard for us to know that Israel feels that they are very close to achieving their targets. and therefore they are trying to have their last bed of even blocking the aid trucks, and also they have intensified for the last 24 hours. They have further intensified the attacks on Rafah and overall attacks and overall operation in the Palestinian territory. So if we bear that in our mind, it appears the operation continues because Netanyahu and the right wing supremacist in Israel, they would like to, because they initiated something and they would like to really take it to the last and what they have told to their population and to the world. And that also goes and that syncs with the overall policy of the Zionist powerful lobbies and powerful organization, which in which they feel that this land, the Greater Israel concept, under that they should be having more charity. And if we remember that at some stage Israel had requested Egyptians or Egyptian government that the Sinai territory of land should be opened for Palestinian, and there could be a city which could be constructed or which could be established for the Palestinians. So all these dots, if we connect, we would probably reach to that conclusion that Israel would like to occupy this area too, whether directly or indirectly, because now it is quite clear that Israel is not going to let Hamas continue with the territorial administration of Gaza. So they now, Israelis, they want to have that administration. They want to, in a way, keep it under control. They would like to create that kind of an environment and situation where the Palestinians leave their territory or try to migrate to other places so that it becomes easier for them. And we have seen in the recent past
that is true. Jamil Saab, we are a bit short of time. We would have loved to continue this discussion, but we are a bit short of time. Thank you very much to have joined us. We'll hope to see you very soon on our screens again to discuss Palestine, to discuss other important international issues. Thank you very much to have given us the time, sir, and to have come on Newsroom. Let's come with our third segment, and that concerns the heat wave that is currently engulfing different areas of Pakistan. The Met Office had already sent a warning a few days back as to the heat wave that would be of course, striking Punjab and Sindh most of all. The Met Office has informed that due to the presence of high pressure in the upper atmosphere, the heat wave conditions are likely to develop over most parts of the country, especially over Punjab, from the 21st of May, and that is from tomorrow. And it is likely to convert to severe heat wave conditions from the 23rd to the 27th of May. The Met Office has further informed that a shallow westerly wave is likely to affect upper parts of the province, and of course that might lead to some kind of storm of some kind. Now, when you come to these heat waves are nothing new as far as Pakistan is concerned. But what is extremely important is that we need to be very vigilant, especially the elderly, especially the children, especially the immunocompromised, especially those who are diabetic, need to be extremely careful when it comes to such heat waves. They need to have as much as under shade as possible. They need to have always water on them. Dr. Hasan Orooj, public health expert, joins us online. Dr. Hasan, thank you very much to have joined us. These heat waves, Dr. Hasan, have they become a regular phenomenon in Pakistan? And in your point of view, who is to blame? Is it climate change? Is it ineffectiveness as far as the different organizations are concerned? What is your point of view on these heat waves?
Assalamu alaikum, Umar, and thank you very much having me on board. To be very honest, it's a multi-dimensional issue, and not only one factor contributes to the heat wave, because it is deforestation, it is climate change, it is our way of life, and also some of the policies as well, which contributes to the heat wave. Pakistan, on one hand, contributes to less than 1% of the greenhouse effect, and on the other hand, out of 198 countries, Pakistan is 8th in number, which is being affected by the implications of the heat wave. And the contribution which gets Pakistan is very less when it comes to the international community funding and assistance. So there are multiple factors. And for developing countries, Umar, I mean, the poverty, the social fabric, the development, less technology, and adoption of a mixed technology without any sense also adds to the implications of the heat wave.
All right. Dr. Hasan, I'd like to, put forward some of the measures that have been taken. For example, in Sindh, the Chief Minister's spokesperson confirms a postponement of the annual intermediate exams that was scheduled for the 22nd, and now they're going to be held on the 27th. In Punjab, the summer vacations have been, they have been extended by a week's time. Normally, they were to be held, begin from the 1st of June, and now they will begin starting from the 25th. Of the 25th to 35th, 1st of May will also be considered summer holidays, and then of course the normal summer vacations will begin, which will go on till August. Do you feel these are the right measures, especially for the young children who go to the schools, who go to the colleges, and who are also most prone to the effects of heat waves?
Yes, I think because in this modern era, we are very well versed through the meteorological departments and through our technology. We come to know what will be the pattern of the heat and heat waves in the coming months and days. For example, we expect a rise of 6 degrees plus from 21st to 23rd of May, and another 8 degrees plus from 23rd to 27th of May. And if you see the pattern, it is not only the southern part of Pakistan, it is, the southern Punjab only or the southern Sindh only. It has moved to the northern areas as well. It will be better to avoid exposure to heat for little children who are very vulnerable, because two sorts of ages are quite vulnerable. One is the young children and other is the old people, or a certain person who are debilitated with diseases, or women who are pregnant. But on the other hand, I think the leaves which we get on issues which are not important are those which can be avoided, should be avoided. But heat wave and exposure to heat is, I think, a crucial point to the human health. I think that's a right decision on their part.
All right. Dr. Hasan, speaking from a medical point of view, what are the signs and symptoms that we need to be very vigilant of when it comes to these heat waves? Because, of course, you can get a heat stroke, and that could sometimes lead to death or other exacerbating conditions. What are the signs and symptoms of a heat stroke that we need to look for under this heat?
Yes, it's a very good question. The thing is that there are basically two zones in which a person could enter into a disease type or the symptoms. One is the heat exhaustion, and other is the heat stroke. People have divided into 4 stages or 5 stages, but I would say that number one is the history. People who are exposed to the under the sun and the extreme hot weather, they are perspiring for long duration. They are feeling intense thirst, headache, and feel a bit dizzy and weakness as well. And the raise in temperature, that is heat exhaustion. On the other side, when it comes to brain, that is the heat stroke. Which is a very dangerous stage, because heat stroke could be life-threatening, in which we can find cramps in the legs, total loss of urination, unconsciousness, and even fits, convulsions and fits. These are the major signs and symptoms which could see. And I think when a person is feeling, or his environment is feeling that they are in heat exhaustion, they have to be immediately responded to.
All right. Dr. Hasan, I'd also like to, understand what are the basic major precautions that we all need to take in the next couple of days till at least this heat wave diminishes?
Yes, the major precaution is less your exposure to heat. Now, people have to go for work, school, children have to go to schools. So avoid that time, which is actually the peak time for the sun, when it is sunny and when the temperature is at the highest, it's at its highest level. Number one. Number two, clothing. You have to wear loose clothing, not very tight clothing. Number three, you have to take water with you and make a type of an electrolyte water. And it's a very simple formula which I'm going to share with you. Put 2 or 3 pinches of salt in 1 liter of water and 2 teaspoons of sugar. So that makes a good electrolyte solution. Keep on drinking it. Use a hat. Don't expose yourself for a long duration. If you have to work outside, go under the shade and go out to work if it is compulsion. So these are a couple of things which you can avoid, especially and do not do some strenuous exercises during these seasons.
All right. Dr. Hasan Orooj, thank you very much to have joined us, public health expert Dr. Hasan Orooj, giving us his point of view on, of course, these heat waves and what needs to be done and what precautions need to be taken and how to understand the signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. We are also going to be joined by Dr. Sardar Sarfaraz. He's a chief meteorologist in a bit. But of course, as Dr. Hasan Orooj has said, that we need to be extremely vigilant and careful as far as the signs and symptoms are concerned, and we all know these signs and symptoms. As Dr. Hasan Orooj has told us, we need to be extremely careful in these coming days, especially till the end of the month, as whenever we go out under the sun, to wear a hat, to always have water and water with electrolytes, that is, as he said, mix salt and sugar in water, and of course keep drinking it so that you are not dehydrated. One needs to be completely hydrated as far as that is concerned. Dr. Sardar Sarfaraz, chief meteorologist, joins us online. Dr. Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. Dr. Saab, this heat wave that the Met Office has, of course, told us, do you think that there's going to be a recurrence of this heat wave post the 27th, or this is just the major heat wave that is going to impact us this summer?
Yes, thank you very much for taking me on this program. Yes, this heat wave is forecasted from tomorrow onwards till 27 May. And I think that it can even prolong beyond 27th May. It can go, it can stretch in towards the first week of June, because from now on there are completely dry conditions, cloudless skies, and there is no any wave bringing the clouds in the country from west or from east, from anywhere. So that's why, and the second thing is that there is a formation of high pressure area in the upper atmosphere. So usually that high pressure area in upper atmosphere induces the heat towards the ground. So almost whole of the Pakistan is covered under that high pressure area. So that's why it will trigger the heat waves like situation from tomorrow onwards.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sardar Sarfaraz, chief meteorologist, to have joined us, to have talked to us about this heat wave that is going to grapple Sindh and Punjab from tomorrow. We need to be extremely careful, extremely vigilant. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of today's newsroom. See you, inshallah, tomorrow with news stories and segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.